Hello and welcome back to another artist profile. Today I have been graced with the presence of Nathan Caldecott, aka Phantom. Hello Nathan, how are you?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing sweet. What about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Even better now I have your beautiful face to look at.
Thank you very much.
So we'll start this off with, tell us who you are, what you do, and yeah.
Do you want like my real persona as a human being, or would you just like the musical?
This is an artist profile, mate. I care about you as an artist.
Alright, sweet. They're very heavily interlinked, to be fair.
Fair.
So first of all, I'm Phantom, 21, lives in Manchester, and I just make nice, emotional, lo-fi synth music, I suppose. I guess that's the easiest way to describe me in a sentence, really.
Lo-fi beats that are emotional.
Yeah, with like indie undertones. You know
Nice.
what I mean?
Yeah, I get, especially with your music videos as well that you do, with the sort of things that you put them to, get that very vaporwave indie vibe, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I'm a big fan of those like Simpson lo-fi edits and stuff like that.
Nice.
And I just thought, and I started, working on my beats more and more. And I thought, well, I don't like putting photos and stuff on my social media. I'm not really about that. I don't put a lot of myself on it. I don't know why. Maybe it's a subconscious thing, but it just doesn't appeal to me. So I think that if I'm going to make a post, I want it to actually be something that people can be interested in. I want it to be something that adds value to someone's life, as opposed to, oh, here's a photo of me posing on like a street.
Yeah,
everyone does it, and that's fine. That's fine. You do you. If you enjoy that, do it. But I'd rather, like, if I'm going to post a photo of myself, I'd rather put a track behind it and give it a meaning, instead of it just being a superficial version of me going, look how pretty I am.
That's fair. I mean, that's obviously the one thing that I think Instagram suffers from most, is that it's just, if I'm honest, bullshit posts. I mean, I'm guilty of it as well. I make a lot of bullshit posts that just have no meaning. So I definitely think that with an artist perspective, if you're going to upload something, having something meaningful and worthwhile behind it definitely improves the overall tone of your Instagram as well, I think, because Instagram and social media is so fucking key these days into being successful, quote unquote, that I definitely think that you've sort of gone a good direction with it by having a very appealing and aesthetically pleasing Instagram.
Well, thank you very much for that, because that's essentially what I'm going for, really. You know what I mean? I want to develop a very close-knit, fan base, follower base, whatever, and I want to have some coherent art and a coherent, social media platform where I can express my music and my views and talk about emotions and talk about serious things that a lot of artists don't. Because if you look at the way the industry is going right now, and everything going on with COVID-19, we can't leave our house, and you cannot be, if you're a big artist, you can't be the artist version of you every day. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, Cardi B has got to sit down and be like, all right, I'm in mum mode now, I'm looking after my kids. Yet she's still got to post content as well. And I think breaking down those barriers between like big artist and real human being is so important for having a close-knit set of fans and people who are actually going to be invested in you, not just because your music's good, but because you're an interesting person, and because you've taken, like, if someone messages you, goes, I really like your track, take the time out of your day to go, thank you very much, because they're the people who are going to stick by you forever. They're the people who are going to buy your tracks, listen to your tracks, and go to your gigs, and they're your family. You know what I mean? They're an extension of your family, because they're supporting what you do simply because you do it.
Yeah.
And because it's their choice. And I think that's the one thing that lockdowns taught me so much, is that if I can give people quality content and make them feel valued, which they always are, because at the end of the day, without people who watch my videos and listen to my edits and stuff like that and go on my SoundCloud, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
I couldn't be more thankful for that. And I think a lot of people neglect their audience.
Yeah, I definitely think smaller artists maybe not as much, because I haven't really seen any examples of it, but especially with bigger artists, once they reach a certain point, it's sort of like, well, thanks for all you've done, but fuck you. And they just people just kind of get left in the dark, and that's why I think people then go off them, because if you don't have that interaction that you had with them in the first place, then what the fuck are you buying into? You're buying into being ignored.
Oh, 100%. And even then, even smaller artists have this complex, which I certainly had when I was younger, of like, you know, oh, people are coming to my gigs, oh, we need to be moody, we need to be larger than life. If we act like a big band, we will become a big band. But in hindsight, it kind of made me look like a bit of a twat. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of made me look a bit like obnoxious, a bit like, oh, thank you for coming to my gig, but I'm not surprised, of course you would, it's me. And you know, you've got to have an element of confidence within yourself when people are saying, oh, we really like your music, because you've got to have enough confidence to put it out. But you can't be up yourself about things. And I think when I took a step back in my life and realised I can be a bit up myself about these things as a musician, and when speaking to people who like my music, I need to start treating them differently. And then the second I did, it just made me feel so much better. And I've noticed the engagement's more, and I'm making friends with the people who like my stuff. Just because they're genuine people. You know what I mean? And you lose that if you've got that ego behind you.
Yeah, this is something that I did say in one of my other videos. I can't remember which one exactly. But I think there's a massive difference between being confident in what you're good in and being overconfident to the point where you alienate everyone because everyone just thinks you're a bit of a egotistical knob. Obviously, that's not saying what you've done, but like in general, that's the difference. So I definitely think there's a difference
100%.
between being like, oh, I'm good at this, and I'm the fucking best thing at this ever. Fuck off. Don't even come near me. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's something that quite a lot of people struggle with in general, is getting that fine balance between getting confident in yourself and knowing that what you're putting out is something you're proud of, and putting something out and thinking it's literally the best thing since sliced bread.
100%, but also that comes with like age and experience. And I think you know, like, I'm 21 and I'm at this point now.
You're still a fucking young'un, mate. 21, bloody.
So it's like, where am I going to be when I'm like 29, 30? You know what I mean? Am I going to keep this up? Or, you know, am I going to get a bit of recognition, blah, blah, blah? And is it going to go to my head? But I want to be self-conscious enough of it to not let that happen, because I want to develop this close-knit fan base. But when people grow,
fair play to you, man.
when you learn the scene, you know what I mean? When you learn the scene that you're on, and you see other people doing stuff, and you see how bigger bands, you know, come correct in a sense, you know what I mean? Like how they approach their audience, how they portray themselves online in interviews. You learn from that. You know, it's the whole kind of lead by example. Like, everyone who wants to be a musician wants to be, well, not everyone, but the majority of people who want to be musicians want to play big gigs, and they want to feel like they're not a larger than life person. But it can't, you know, you can't get lost in it. You can't get overwhelmed by that, because it will just be detrimental to like your career at a very early stage. When you're a bit bigger, okay, you can while out a little bit. You can be like, okay, I'm fucking big now. I'm doing good. But you've still got to remember that, like, if it wasn't for those 5 people who commented on every track you put out, who commented on every post you made, who messaged you saying how much they love it, if it wasn't for those first 5 people, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing.
I can't disagree with that at all. I definitely, the one thing that I always think is, if you're going to talk big, at least have something to back it up. And I know that a lot of people have done a lot of things and they have that behind them, but I don't know, at the same time I do feel like a lot of people do kind of talk big, but you look at the track record and it's a bit, but do you know what I mean? But moving on from that, like, talking about like bands and stuff, You were obviously in a band that I previously reviewed, known as the Rants, and now you've moved on from them. You departed them. You're now a solo project, making a completely different type of music. What was it like going from being a 4-piece band and doing indie music to then going to have full control and doing whatever you wanted in this style of music?
Completely overwhelming. I mean, first of all, big love to all the boys, because they're still some of my closest mates, and I still support them 100%, and the music they're making is great. It's just not what I wanted to do at that time. I didn't feel like the role I was playing allowed me to have enough creative control over the stuff I was playing, because I was doing drums and percussion and stuff, and an indie kind of calls for a very standard set of fills and grooves and, you know, tempo, and I couldn't necessarily throw in flourishes and stuff that you can with, say, jazz or you know, Latin. It's a complete different ball game. However, it's still an incredibly difficult genre to nail, because you've got to be on the beat, you've got to keep everyone sorted. And so when I kind of transitioned from doing that to just being, okay, it's me, I'm in charge of the songs I write, I'm in charge of the lyrics I write, I'm in charge of the audio engineering side of it. How am I going to turn this basic drum beat into a soundscape? What samples am I going to use? What, you know, effects am I going to use? How am I going to apply an EQ to the kick so I get the most punch out of it? And you realize that you're in charge of everything then. You know, even your social media, even just like, I don't know, even just like organizing stuff like this. Like previously, Joe would do a lot of the emailing and stuff like that, because he had the band email, he set it up. And so if we had something like this coming up, it's like, you know, okay, I just need to show up on this day, do my bit, and then I'm kind of free. Whereas now it's like, I've got to plan everything, I've got to be ready for everything. Like when you asked me to do this, I was just like, okay, thank God I brought everything I needed with me, because I'm always ready now for business. You know what I mean? I've got to always be ready for any opportunity that gets given to me, because that can like be a make or break for your career in a small sense. You know what I mean? I could get an email off someone and not reply for 2 days, and by the time I reply, I've lost the gig.
But that's also good then in the sense of you saying about, obviously you're now in control of your emails, and you're in control of everything. I think with a band, when you have 4 members, especially as I've had in previous bands years back, where we always had that one lazy member who wanted all the control. So you'd get the opportunity, they'd never respond to it, and then 3 of you have now missed an opportunity because one person couldn't be bothered. And I feel like with having your own solo project, as you've just explained, you have so much control over what you do that you are now basically in charge of your own future. No one can really dictate or argue or say you can't do that, because it is now just fully down to you.
Oh, 100%. And that's transitioned not into just my life as an artist, but as a person too. Like over the past year, I have had so many experiences with so many wonderful people, and I've learned a lot. And there are people in, you know, who are either in my life or not in my life right now, who have done so much to boost me up and help me and really get me to the point where I'm now I feel like I'm a solo artist. I don't just feel like I'm a guy who's making beats and it's kind of okay. I feel more confident in myself, and I have so much love for those people, and they know who they are, and if they watch this, they know exactly who they are and their boss, and I couldn't thank them enough for everything they've done. And, you know, those people, along with me just learning what it is to be an artist and what it is to put my social media out and, you know, put videos up and keep engaged and market myself, has translated into my life in the sense of, like, I'm working out now, I'm getting up at a regular time, I've got schedules for stuff, I've got a diary, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to take your life and make it more structured so you can 100% fit everything in, hit your deadlines. And so being hit with that much control at first is like so scary.
Because it's so overwhelming. Because like, oh, there's so much I need to do.
It is like, you know, even just writing a track, and then you know, just like, okay, I've got the idea for the track. Now I've got to put vocals down. Okay, now I've got to get it mixed and mastered. All right, but I need to get photography for the track, artwork, you know, swipe up links, download codes. You've got to do it all, especially as a solo artist. And I think to anyone who's watching this, who's thinking about becoming a solo artist, if you want to like get a mad structure in your life, do it, because you'll throw yourself in the deep end, and because you care about it so much, you will force yourself to adapt. That like fear of, I don't want people to see me flop, I want to be prolific, I want to be out there, will just make you adapt, and it will change your life. I mean, you know, just seeing the way that you've done your YouTube stuff, like you're posting consistently, you're posting like stuff every week, and you've got a constant stream of content, which in
thank you, by
this
the way.
rapidly evolving world, not a problem. But like in the rapidly evolving world, with all the algorithms and shit like that that are dictating if you're seen or not, the more stuff you've got out, the more you're posting, the more people are seeing your things.
Yeah, it's kind of like
getting
not
that one decent hit.
Yeah, it's not like forcing them, it's just giving them choice more than anything, isn't it? Rather than sort of saying, listen to this, now. It's more, well, you can listen to this, or you have the option of this, and I've just done this as well. So and also it depends on how you market it. So something that I do and something that you also do is, rather than saying, you need to watch this now, go and watch this now, it's more, this is available if you would like to watch it, or if you would like to listen to it. And I definitely think it's how you portray yourself, and like you said, you can't. I don't think you can really just go out and try and force people, because then that's not really what works. You just have to give them the availability to do what they want to. And I think if you're such a nice and humble person about it, then there's not really going to be any arguments towards it, because you've not sort of come across as rude or impolite. You just set yourself out and say, this is what I am, this is what I have, this is what I do. If you want to check it out, thank you, I really appreciate it. And that's something that you definitely do. As obviously you've spoke about, but obviously as people have seen on your Instagram as well, is that you don't force it. It doesn't feel like a forced interaction. It doesn't feel like you, like I said, are forcing it in people's faces. It's just saying, this is available, check it out if you want, and if you do, then I'm very grateful for it. And I think that's definitely the right path to take in terms of music as well. Is to just be very 100%. Humble and appreciative of people actually taking time out of their day to listen to your stuff.
Yeah, like you've spot on. Like I don't want people to listen to my music because I want them to. I want them to listen to my music out of choice. Yeah. If you like my music, that's great. Let me know. I'm so thankful for the comments. I'm so thankful for the feedback. If you don't like my music, let me know. I'm still thankful, because then I know, what is it about my music that you're not vibing with?
Yeah.
Is it just a personal thing, or is it like a legit issue? Like, is my production weak? Is it, is there a lack of low end in this mid section of this track? If so, I can take that information. I don't want people to tiptoe around me and be like, oh yeah, we support you, when they secretly don't like my shit. Like, just tell me. I'm not going to be offended, because I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to improve.
And you can't better yourself without the honesty.
Of course, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to make music just for me. I'm trying to make music for the people who are watching this and who look at my Instagram and who just like me as a person, for my friends, just people, anyone. Like, that's who I'm making the music for, because, I want to add something to someone else's life, not just my own. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And
fuck.
I think some bands. Yeah, exactly. Like, some bands take criticism so harshly, and
mate, again, don't even
I've
get me started.
Well, I mean, I know that you're very fucking honest, and I respect you for that one, man. Like 100%.
Yeah, it's become a problem in the past, though.
Do you know what, though? At the end of the day, if you don't want criticism, don't put yourself out there. Like.
Yeah.
You see it all the time where I know it sounds like a really like rough and tough thing to say, but if you know, if you're going to put yourself on a platform, on a pedestal, if you're going to put yourself in a really wide social situation, and someone's going to say your music is shit, and you're going to get annoyed by it. I mean, if they're just being a troll, fair, but if they've gone, okay, so I like the idea you've gone for with this song, but your production is lacking, and you fully know that you've got your friend who's a first year production student to make that track, well, to produce that track for you. It's not going to be major quality. It's not going to be top of the range, top tier, you know, produced music. It's going to be, okay, this is a good first effort, but you need to know that this is where you can improve.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's going to be detrimental to
you'll be making the same mistakes over and over. Music.
Like, and that's the thing. Never be too proud of yourself to have someone tell you that what you're doing isn't working. You know what I mean? And be like, okay, you need to change. You need to do this. And if, you know, if someone came to me and was like, I like your beats, but the melody's off, man, like it's not in tune or it's not in key, I'd be like, okay, fair play. Even if that's like my first tune, it's my baby, and I'm very sentimental with it, I'll probably look back in 2 years' time after using that feedback they've given me and being like, I see exactly where they're coming from. Yeah. You can't get locked into like just your own head. Don't get me wrong. If the person genuinely doesn't know what they're talking about, like if you've got like a, I don't know, like if you've got someone who likes drum and bass going, your rock song's bad because the EQ on this kick is wrong. It's like, okay, but you only listen to drum and bass, so the only reference you've got to what a kick
is drum and bass.
Is drum and bass. So, you know, there's a big level of like, everything's subjective, you know what I mean? Everything is based on that person's likes and interests, and if, you know, and that can sway their opinions on your music, which is fine. You know what I mean? But just don't get hurt when people don't like your stuff, because it's not personal. It's just it's just business.
But not only that, but whatever you put out, there's always going to be someone who doesn't like it. You can never please every single person ever. There's always, no matter if what you've made, you've spent 27 years on, you've put your entire life's work into it, someone will still dislike it. And that's just how it works. I think no matter what you put out, there's always going to be someone. There's people who hate my content. There's people who probably dislike your shit. And it's just a matter of accepting that and just doing what you want regardless, because like I said, you're always going to have someone who just doesn't like what you're doing. And that's life.
Like, but that's the thing. There's always going to be the people who don't like that stuff, but it's like, that's fine. You can tell me about it if you're going to tell me in a constructive way. If you're going to be a troll, fuck off. Because it's like, you don't have to listen to my music. That's the beauty of social media and the world right now, is the music market is very saturated. If you want to go somewhere with it, you've got to make a lot of noise, and you've got to do your marketing right, and you've really got to kind of you've got to look at it from a numbers game, not just okay, my music's really good, but it's like, if your music's really good but you're not paying for promotion, it's not going to get out to a lot of people, so no one's going to know your music's good. Yeah. And fair. You know, because of that saturation, it also means that whilst there's so many people fighting for the same spotlight, the listeners, the consumers, the fans have so much scope. They've got millions and millions of options of bands to listen to, so if they don't like your stuff, they can just skip to the next track. You know what I mean? And and that's kind of like that also kind of brings me to the point of like, I don't understand why people feel the need to troll and hate on someone else. When it's like, okay, so if you don't like tomatoes, why kick off about it? Why not just put them in a bin and go get something you do like? You know what I mean?
It's making a big deal out of nothing, because this is what, like you said, with the difference between trolling and being constructive. I feel like there's some people that can be like, you can change this. This might sound cool because I didn't really like this. And then you get the people that go, that was the worst fucking thing I've ever heard, you absolute wanker. Why the fuck did you do that? But not tell you why! Oh my god, it does my head in.
but when people do that shit, man, it's just like, alright, cool. Like, that's great. I'm gonna... you know,
not listen to
I'm
that.
gonna go eat some food and have a lie down. Like, thank you for your input, however invalid it was. Thank you anyway, because, you know, it's good to know that you're still bumping my shit even though you hate me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't do anything but laugh at stuff like that. And
yeah, I definitely think that if you take it to heart, then like it's a lot harder, because stuff like that is always going to happen.
Yeah. And I think on a small level, it can annoy you because you're like, I really care about this and I'm working right now. And this person's just said it's shit, even though you've got like 49 other people out of your viewers who go, I really like your stuff, you're really good.
Yeah.
And that's like brutal honesty too. That's the best thing, is they're being as honest as possible, because you're not big when you've got like 50 people listening to your tracks. So why are you fixating on that one person?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and then there's the economy of scale. So, like, say you've got 1 million followers and 200,000 people comment shitting on your music or your content or stuff like that. That is when it can get to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, 200,000 people, that's a lot. That's a lot of people going, I don't like you, I don't like what you do, I'm going to pick apart every single thing about you. And then it makes you forget about the 800,000 other people who are going, keep going, your music's really good, I really like what you're doing, your style's cool, blah blah blah. It's so easy to get lost into the negative side of social media and feedback on social media. Because, you know, people in our generation, there's a lot of low self-esteem, there's a lot of adverse mental health. And, you know, the people who are dragging you and they're just like, you're shit, I hate you, blah blah blah, the people who are doing that are probably going through their own things.
Yeah.
And it's like, just don't listen to them, because, you know, they're not in a clear headspace, you know what I mean? They're just like angry at themselves or angry at something in the world, and they just want to take it out on something, so they're choosing you. Don't take it to heart, just go, okay, fuck it, you've said that, whatever. I've got 100,000, 500,000, 500 million. You've got loads of, you know, you've got a box of people who don't like you, a box of people who do, and the box of people who do is always bigger. If you're a real person,
unless you're like an actual asshole, then you've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, if you're Katie Hopkins, like, the hate you box is massive.
Don't even get me started.
You're bigger, and, you know, I hate you too, Katie. I really do. You're a bad person. You know what I mean? And your bigoted views. No wonder your Twitter account got just like shut down, man.
Thank fuck for that. I was tired of seeing her shit on my fucking timeline. But that sort of helps me move on to the next question I'm going to ask you. And obviously that's something that people struggle with, is obviously the positive and the negative. But on the flip side, obviously going from having 4 of you to now 1 of you, is there anything that you've now found to struggle with having just you? I mean, obviously, like you said, you've got to do everything yourself, all the mixing and the mastering, but is there anything? Yeah. Because the one thing that I found that I hated when I first released my first ever single, the one thing that I hated the most was the fact that there wasn't 3 other people that could take it as well. It was just me. Yeah. So, is there anything that you found that you struggled as a solo artist compared to being in a band?
Yeah, so that's such a great question, and there really is. So basically, like, it's just self-belief, you know what I mean? Because I'm writing all the tracks and I'm sitting there and I've got to listen to my beat 100 times, and I've got to decide whether I think I want to show that to the public or not. Whereas when you're in a band and you're all collectively writing a song together, you've got 4 opinions.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can, every single person has their own part to play. You only have to focus on that one part, and then you get feedback off the rest of the band going, all right, I changed this, I changed that, which makes the writing process so much less stressful, so much less time consuming, because, you know, you all focus on your specific bit and then bring it together, give each other feedback, go away, change it. And you only have to do that about 3 or 4 times, and then you've got a pretty good song. You know what I mean? Like, you've got a pretty good idea. And that collectivism is super, super helpful when songwriting. But when you're on your own, it's like, okay, I'm in my room on my own. It's raining outside. It's dark. You know, it's just, and I'm trying to create something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to create a piece of art whilst constantly second guessing everything I'm doing. Like, you know, I'll write a chord progression and be like, okay, I don't like that chord, but I don't know how to change it. I can't. And you can go to people for second opinions, but if you're just having like a you day where you've got like no social media, no nothing, everything's off, and it's just you and your craft, you've got to sit there and pick it apart and be like, okay, what's wrong with that chord? And before you know it, you've spent a half an hour changing one chord. And it's a lot more mentally taxing to write as a singular artist than as a collective. Overall, that's what I found. But it's also great because then when I find something that I think is really good and I show other people and see their reactions, I'm like, God. And it's a major confidence booster, you know, like when I show some of my stuff and they're like, I fucking really like that. And I had that exact experience. I went home a little while ago just to see my family and stuff and see my dad for Father's Day. And I showed him one track, and this is going to be the first single I've decided. And his reaction was just like, I put it on. It was like, I fucking heard this one. You showed me this. You showed me this over the phone. I like this. I like this. And I just seen something spark in his eyes, and then he started listening intently. And then by the end of it, he had the melody in his head. You know, you could see him humming it. You could see his brain thinking. And that's the exact reaction I want from people who listen to my music. I want them to think about the lyricism. I want them to think about how, you know, how the sound changes, how it's a, you know, the soundscape. I want it to evolve throughout the song, and I want it to cause people to sit and think and just take the time to focus on that one thing and direct their mind, because no one does that anymore. You know, you're just scrolling and liking.
That looks good. Like, yep, cool. Oh, and then and that as well.
and the music that I want to make, my music, is I want it to be for people who just want to take a step back from that and just kind of go, okay, I feel happy or I feel sad or whatever. I want to dive into that a little bit. I want to figure out why, because that's the way I listen to music. Is I listen to music so I can think, because it's the one thing that clears my mind. And so I want to give that back to other people. I want to, you know, give someone a song or an album and they can sit and go through it and experience whatever they need to experience, whether that's, you know, mourning the loss of someone or a breakup, or even a positive thing like, you know, getting a new job, which is scary and exciting at the same time. And I want people to have essentially like my music as like a comfort blanket, as something reassuring them that like it's going to be cool. Just sit back, relax, and digest it. Cool.
That's probably probably one of the best answers I've had to that question.
Thank you very much.
We've got a couple quick ones because I've realised we've been doing this for 35 minutes already. Fucking hell.
Sorry.
But no. Don't be sorry. I'm just going to show a picture right here, as you can see. This is Nathan's Instagram, and from the pictures that you can see on this, you can see there's a very old-timey feel, like I said, a bit of vaporwave sort of stuff. Top 3, who do you take influence from in terms of visuals?
Oh, fuck, right. So I've got this straight off the bat. So first of all, Frank Ocean,
Cool.
100%. His
Nice.
stuff's amazing. He's an artistic genius. Dead interesting. Like, his approach to his social media is very sparse.
Mm-hmm.
No one sees him. He's not prolific, and that's something that I've taken and ripped off to a sense. Is like, I just try and only post if I need to.
Yeah.
And if I ever got to the point where I was as big as him, that is the exact approach I'd still take. So there's one for sure. Second, Tyler the Creator,
Nice.
because he and that's his fashion. That's his fashion, and the way he looks at things, and he mixes his fashion with his music seamlessly. And you know, he's managed to start off making music with a big group of people, you know, when he was in Odd Future, and their music was there. It was underground. It was aggressive, abrasive, and you know, a lot of people hated on it. A lot of people had a lot of negative things to say about it because it was just so raw.
Mm-hmm.
But he's now taken that, worked on himself, and he's transitioned into this amazing, like, rapper, jazz, pop,
Everything.
amalgamation. he's blurring boundaries, man.
Mm.
And he does that with his artwork, he does that with his fashion, and he does that with his music. And you know, that is kind of like the trifecta of what you want as an artist. You want to have the look, you want to have the content, and you want to have the visuals to complement the content.
Yeah.
And you know, so that's another kind of influence for where I've got it from. And then I suppose like my third kind of influence isn't necessarily an artist, but it's just like the vaporwave genre as a whole, the aesthetic that comes with that.
It's the first thing I think of when I see your stuff.
VHS, film grain, everything's a bit blurry, everything's a bit muddled, you know. Like, have you seen those YouTube videos where it's like Tame Impala but you're crying in a bathroom?
Yes, I have. Of
Stuff
course.
like that. And you know, and I'm honestly, I'm a whore for drenching shit in reverb as well. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of that kind of like, you know, like a little bit of a movie sample, just like reverbed in the background, and you can kind of hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to say straight up, that's a little Easter egg that I want anyone who listens to the track when it's out to look out for. Is
Okay.
some little Easter egg sample stuff that
Cool.
you may not hear because it's drenched in fucking reverb.
Fair do. Cool. One more serious one, and I'll ask you a very fucking stupid one. Is there any particular
I'll keep
song
these
that
too
you...
short because I go off on a tangent.
No, it's fine, man. You're not Joel Felix. I
Okay,
don't know if you've
okay.
watched that one, but I asked him 4 questions because he spent 50 minutes answering 3 questions. But is there any particular song that you've made that you're proud of most?
The one that's coming out, man.
Fair.
Like, it's the first one where I've like sat down and been like, all right, this is the most cohesive piece I've written. Or actually, I'm gonna do a little plug. So, if you guys look at my Instagram, there's a link in the bio that will take you through to an instrumental, and it's called Good Night, and that is
Yes.
the one I did with the Akira visuals. That's on my Instagram, but this one's on SoundCloud. I'm proud of that one because that was the first time I'd made something and I was like, this is really fucking cool, I like this. But the one that I'm going to be releasing, which I've literally named it No Name because I don't know what to call it yet, that is like by far, that's the piece I've listened to a million times and I'm like, I'm still proud of it, I'm still happy with it, and I've got a really good just like idea for the direction it's going in.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I think that's probably my number one track at the moment.
Well, if you need a review for it,
Well, I'll fucking keep you posted, bro.
it's just such a shameless plug. Like, oh, new song.
Let me shit on your beats.
No, I wouldn't shit on it unless it is just a pile of shit, but it's not, so don't worry.
It's subjective, bro.
Subjective pieces of shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, just a final dumb fucking question that I ask everyone
Okay.
because I'm interested, and I try not to
Alright.
judge people on their answers, but I will. And custard creams or chocolate bourbons?
Bro, I was a fatty when I was younger, so both, man. Like,
Fucking hell, alright.
can I say both? Because, like, honestly, I couldn't pick. Like, because
I am forcing you to
Home
pick.
Bargains. No, because if you go to Home Bargains, you can get the double packs where it's bourbons and custard creams. So, like, you know.
Pick a fucking biscuit.
Okay. Oh, you bastard. Custard creams, because
Right, this
my
is the
old
end of this
music teacher
interview.
in high school-
Massive thank you to Phantom for coming.
Oh, you bastard! No. Listen to this. This is like a funny story to end the story. So, we had a music teacher in high school, and there was a story about one time. This is like a rumor, but apparently a whole class pelted him with custard creams one day. Like a whole, like 30 kids, 30 like rough lads were just lobbing custard creams at him. So every now and then we'd be sitting there in class and we'd be like, "Sir, do you like custard creams?" And he'd be like, "Oh, did you hear that through the grapevine?" And we'd just be thinking, "Yes, we heard. We know what happened to you. Your traumatic experience." So that's why custard creams are my favourite, because they're also fucking lethal projectile weapons, bro. You know what I mean? Full custard jacket.
I just don't know what to say to that, to be honest.
I think that's a pretty good like finishing move, innit? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
I think I'll end that there, to be honest.
that's like the interview RKO, isn't it, man? Like, Jesus.
It's just, he's already dead, man. It's just is fucking dead now.
Boom, custard cream straight out of nowhere, man. Jesus.
I'll accept your answer because you've got a good reason for it. But if you just said
Alright,
custard
thank
creams with
you.
no reason, now I probably would have judged you and never uploaded this. But anyway, massive thank
You
you.
broke my heart, you bastard. Not a problem. Not a
Massive
problem.
thank you to Nathan for coming on and obviously talking. I'll ensure to link all of his social medias down below so you can go and check it out for yourself. Let him know what you think, because as he said, he'll reply to your comment. Maybe he'll give you a cheeky little kiss emoji as well whilst he's there. But yeah, I'll put all the social medias down below so you can check them out. Massive thank you to Nathan, and massive thank you to you for watching this. Have a good day, and I will speak to you now and you laters. Goodbye.